The last week we did verse 12. The gist of the 12th verse was the nature of desires, how it stubbornly holds on to one, whatever it be, it doesn't seem to leave its grip over one. As the text says, day and night, dusk and dawn, winter and spring has come again and again. Again and again can be also looked at. Time has passed, time sports, as he says, life ebbs away, time keeps passing. Yet the gusts of desires leaves not. So desire has to be taken very, very seriously. Even at the relative level, people seem to be riding on their desires. I have to pause because Rishi is mentioning that there is no audio. Uh, are you all able to hear me? All right. Okay. Raviji is unable to join us today, so I will have to do a little bit of admin as well. Just give me a minute. Let me respond to Harishji. So the 12th verse clearly tells us the need to look at desire from a totally different perspective. You must look at the desire how these great masters look at it. Before we look at what they say, we look at a desire as an avenue to find peace, happiness. At the relative level, we keep chasing desires, we keep entertaining desires as if it is nobody's business. Not realizing the very pursuit of desires themselves take away the very objective of what we are seeking. The very pursuit of desires takes away that peace and happiness that we are seeking in life. So at the relative level, you must not fall a slave, you must not fall a prey to the desires. And a classic example which we have dealt in detail was the price one pays for falling a prey to the desire. In the text Ramayana, what Sita paid a price for just falling a prey to one desire. So keep remembering that. Keep reminding yourself of the danger of falling a prey to one desire. So at the relative level, desire causes a lot of pain and agony. And at the absolute level, from an absolute perspective, desire is a barrier between you and God. If you want to get to Godhood, you must learn how to deal with these desires. There is no way out. There is no other way to salvation but to learn to look at desire differently. You've got to understand it as a barrier between man and God. So man minus desires equals God. So you should not fall a prey to any desire, whether be it the physical, mental, intellectual. So the desires can have various forms. So you may fall a prey to the physical desire. You may fall a prey to the emotional desire or intellectual desire. But whatever it is, the desire is a barrier. Therefore, all religions has personified desire as that, as they say. In Islam it is called shaitan. In Christianity it is called Satan. In Buddhism it is Mara. And in Hinduism it is Asura. So all this are nothing but the desire right within you. Alright, so take a note of it. That was the message where the verse 12 said the urgency to exhaust your desires. You're actually being possessed. You are a slave to your desires. The desires are possessing you. They don't seem to let go of you. You seem to be a hostage by the desires. You are imprisoned in the clutches of your desires. You are imprisoned. You can't let go. That's what is symbolic. The moment Krishna was born in the prison, the gates of the prison opened up, wasn't it? Isn't that the story? The moment Krishna was born, the gates of the prison opened up. Symbolically, you can't imprison the Atman. Atman is beyond the limitations of your body, mind and intellect. But you are yourself allowing yourself to be imprisoned because of your own identification with the equipments, with the matter. The moment you identify with the self, you are truly liberated. You can't be shackled. So how finite you think you are because of your identification. So the choice is yours what you identify with, whether be it the matter or you identify with the Atman. So you must choose not to identify with the desires. If you do, you are bound. Okay? That was the gist in verse 12. Rajima, could you just message Hareshji that the way he is logged in, he can't be given the video access unless he logs out and logs back in. That is possible. Okay? Can you just message him? But if he's finding difficulty, just tell him that he follows the session, because it would end up disrupting the session, because I don't have the help of Raviji today. Okay? So let's move on. Let's take verse 13. Kate kanta dhanagata चिंता वातुल किं तव नास्ति नियंता त्रिजगति सज्जन संगतिरेका भवति भवार्णव तरणे नौका काते कांता धनगत चिंता वातुल किं तव नास्ति नियंता त्रिजगति सज्जन संगतिरेका भवति भवार्णव तरणे नौका. It's such a beautiful verse. It has got so much in it. It is not just the philosophical takeaway, even the mere chant of it. I tell you, we might get liberated by merely chanting the verses. I tell you, that is so beautiful. Okay, so that the title for this verse, it says, surrender your worries. Please, for God's sake, what are you worrying, man? Simply surrender, he says. So, Vatula. Kate kanta, dhanagata chinta, Vatula kim navanasti anta. Vatula means, oh distracted one, oh distracted fellow, why worry over your wife and wealth? Kate kanta. Dhanagata chinta. Chinta is worry. Why are you worrying about your wife? Why are you worrying about your wealth? Is there not for you the ordainer? Nasti niyanta. The ordainer. Niyanta means the ordainer. In the three worlds, Trijagati Sajjana Sangati Reka, in the three worlds, association with the good alone, Bhavati Bhavarnava Tarane Nauka. It can serve as a boat to cross the sea of existence. So beautiful. I don't know whether you see the depth in the verse. Let me try. I don't know whether we can do justice to this great wisdom, but we will try humbly. See whether we can do some justice to it. Okay? So the verse, here the theme of the verse is he's talking about the wealth and woman together. So he's talking about the two primary motivations the text is talking about is Kanchana and Kamini. He's talking about the both. So when he says, what is your worry over your wife, refers to woman. What is your worry over your wealth? Wealth refers to acquisition. Woman refers to enjoyments. So these are the two primary motivations of life. And distracted one refers to one who is distracted from the pursuit of the higher. So those who are caught up with acquisition and enjoyment of life, such people, they are not available for the higher. They are distracted with the pursuit of constantly chasing their desires, acquiring, and wanting to enjoy. Their life is fully infested with worry, anxiety, pressure, something has possessed them. They pay a very hefty price for worrying over their acquisition and enjoyment. And that's why he calls them a distracted one. Vatula, you are distracted. You are not interested in seeking the higher. And then he says so lovingly, so beautifully, he says, is there not for you the ordainer? Is there no God for you, man? Why are you taking it upon yourself, thinking that you have to do everything? Everything is determined by you. Everything is defined by you. You seem to be the master of your life. Everything has to happen only because of you. Why do you take that such a over responsibility onto yourself, thinking you are everything in life and all your pursuits of life mean everything to you? Is there not the ordainer? Is there no God above there for you? Don't you have trust in God? Don't you believe in an ordainer? How shallow, how little, how small is your thinking, man? Now, when we talk of this concept of the question of the ordainer, now, there is no question that there is this ordainer, isn't it? There is no doubt about it. But if only there is a doubt or there is a concern, what is the concern is, what is the role that ordainer plays in one's life, and what is the role does one's own effort come into play? So what is the combination of surrendering to the Lord vis-a-vis putting in your own self-effort? So these two factors have to be examined. Now when the verse says surrender, firstly you must understand surrender is not blind faith. When you surrender to someone, it does not mean you blindly follow them. Surrender is not blind faith. Surrender is where you engage. Okay, first and foremost, surrender, whenever we talk of surrender, surrender happens in areas of your ignorance, in areas where you do not know, in realms that you are not aware of, you know not how to go about it. Those are the areas you surrender. You have a health issue, surrender to a doctor. You have something structurally wrong with your building, you go and surrender to an engineer. You want to divorce your wife, you go and surrender to a lawyer. No, my wife is staring at me when I say that. And if you have any worries over your life, you got to surrender to the Lord. So surrender happens only in areas of your ignorance. Now, those who have surrendered wrongly perceive surrender to be blind faith. Surrender is not blind faith. Now, blind faith is only when you follow predominantly by the mind. Where your mind follows someone or some entity or someone in particular, where you fail to examine what has been said. Now, when you have a medical problem, obviously you know it is in areas of your ignorance. So when you go to a doctor, would you blindly do what he advises you to do? I don't think we should do that. He may put you through an unnecessary course of inquiry, tests. He may, in fact, the hospital or the clinic first finds out whether you are a cash party or insurance party. If you are a cash party, they are very careful. If you are insurance party, they are very liberal. So they can completely clean you up. They'll wash the dish and put you in the shelf. You have nothing to do. They will completely empty you. So you got to completely be very, very smart. Even though you are areas of ignorance, you just can't sell yourself, expose yourself in that area of ignorance. So you got to be very, very sharp and alert. You would want to listen out what is the advice the doctor is giving, what is being prescribed, what is right, what is wrong. You may ask certain things. You don't want to plunge into it. You will go back. You will do a little study on it. You will go for a second or third opinion. And then perhaps you come to an understanding. With your limited knowledge, you come to an understanding, okay, I think what that particular doctor is saying might be the best course of advice for me. So surrender is not blind following. Surrender involves your mind and the intellect. Please take a note of it. So surrender is not blind faith. Surrender involves your active participation. But you do consult a superior factor. So that is the most important factor. Now, what we are looking at is when you surrender, because the text is saying, is there not for you the ordainer? The ordainer, is there no God? Is there not anyone above there who ordains, who oversees, who conducts things, who controls things? There is one, man. You got to surrender to him. Now, when you talk of surrender to God, there is this three possibilities. Now, one possibility is, now please write down, one possibility is, there are one set of people who believe everything happens with the God's grace. Nothing happens without the grace of Lord. It is the Lord, it is the God that enables everything to happen. And once they have surrendered to the Lord, they believe that the Lord enables everything to happen. Thereafter, they don't put in any effort. So one combination is, there are people who surrender to the Lord and then they put in no self-effort on their behalf. Now what happens if you believe that I have truly surrendered to the Lord, but I don't put in any effort? What will be the outcome of that? Now let's hold on to the outcome. So one possibility is you surrender plus there's no effort. The second possibility is you put in a lot of self-effort. You are a workaholic. You will do everything possible in your capacity, but then you don't surrender to the Lord. You believe I am everything. I am putting in the effort. I am the one, the doer. What is the outcome? Leave it a blank. Second possibility. The third possibility is, here's a person Sorry, Tata, we have to disable your microphone because there seems to be a lot of noise coming from your microphone. Okay, so I had to disable it. Okay. So the third possibility is you put in the self-effort, all the effort that is needed, humanly possible, you put in all the effort, and thereafter you surrender to God. So first possibility is, there are people who surrender to God but they don't put in effort. Second, people put in a lot of effort but they don't surrender to God. The third possibility is, you put in all the effort and then you have surrendered to God. So what is the fruits of these three possibilities? The first possibility, when you put in no effort, but you surrender to God, believing God is the one who is doing everything, who is a true master of everything. If one operates that way, the outcome is there is no outcome. It will have disastrous consequences.
There's a simple story, I'm sure you've heard of it. There was a torrential rain, and the entire village was flooded. And the emergency teams came in to evacuate everybody from the village. But there was one man who was sitting under a tree, a spiritual man, a Swami, was sitting under a tree, seeing all the commotion happening around them. As he was perched or seated on a platform, he was little above the water level. But slowly but surely the water level was rising. And the entire village was evacuated. As a last check, in fact, the people who evacuated the village, they came up to the Swami also and asked, "Do you want to come?" He said, "No, I am fine. I have the Lord's grace. The Lord will take care of me." So they went by. At the very end, the last boat which was doing a sweep check whether is anybody left behind comes and asks the Swami. The water levels were rising to dangerous levels. And they said, "Sir, there will be no further rescue boat, rescue team coming. Are you interested to come?" The Swami said, "The Lord will take care of me." So the people left the Swami to his fate and they left. And no sooner the water levels rised and the Swami was swept away in the floods and he died. The story goes that because of all the good work he did, he was transported to heaven. Not salvation. He did not get moksha, but a few. It's not the penthouse, the second floor only was stuck. Let's say the 4-story building, 5th floor is the penthouse. The penthouse is the salvation. So he got to the 3rd floor maybe, Ground floor is hell. 1st floor is hell 1, heaven 1, heaven 2, heaven 3, heaven 4. Heaven 5 is, there is no heaven, it is moksha. So this Swami was genuinely trying for moksha. But he only got to the 3rd heaven. So all the wise people were there. Yeah? Once in a while Indra also used to visit, so the god of gods also used to visit them. So he happened to have a conversation with Lord Indra, because he was a wise man, a great man. And he was saying, "Oh Lord, I was waiting for you to appear and help me out. But how come you didn't come?" And then he said, "You fool." He also spoke the same language of Adi Shankaracharya. "Oh Mudhamate, oh fool. What do you mean I didn't come? Not that I did not come, I came thrice. 3 times I came to help you, but you didn't want to take the help. You thought Lord will come, but the Lord came in the form of the rescue team. And you don't want to put in any effort. You don't want to do your part to it. You didn't want to get onto the boat and you believe God is going to save your life. No, God is going to save you. You got to least that you could have done is you could have got up and stepped into the boat. You would have had a fair chance of reaching my abode, which is the penthouse." So as somebody said, God helps only those who help themselves, isn't it? That's very true. It's a very famous remark. It is so true. God helps those who help themselves. So here is someone who surrendered to God truly, but he did not put in effort. There is no favorable outcome if you live that kind of a life. Now, secondly, the second category of people are those who put in a lot of effort, but then they don't surrender. What is the outcome of such attitude? What is the possibility? Who are very successful, who found themselves because they put in a lot of effort. Everything has come by their way, but they have not surrendered to the Lord. What is that possibility? What happens to them? You're giving two opposite answers, huh? Gayatri? On one side you say stress, on the other side you say extreme happiness. Now which do I take? Oh, you are success and failure, huh? But they find material success, but you find where there is, in fact, have you not seen that verse earlier? You know, Ma Kuru Dhana Jana Yavana Garvam, he says. Because of Yavanam, a youth, or a following, you get Garvam. So they become very arrogant of their life. They have the success, but what they lack is, they lack that humility. It gets to them, isn't it? In fact, the true quality of a Brahmana, a man who is endowed with knowledge, is Vidya and Vinaya. A man who is endowed with knowledge has to have that humility in him. And that humility doesn't come because he doesn't attribute that there is some role played by the divine providence. There is no role played by God or the ordainer. So he attributes everything to himself. So there is this ahankar, there is ego. But when you find there is an ideal combination of putting in your effort, you do all what you should do, and thereafter you surrender to the Lord. Believe me, you do your part and thereafter you surrender to a factor beyond your limited understanding. There is so much out there that you do not know. There is such a vast expanse of the totality you are unaware of. There is that cosmos, there is that mighty reality. There's so much that's happening around you which you are least aware of. You do not know what it is. Isn't it? You do not know what it is. So the least you do is you surrender your worries to those factors. You do your part and leave the fruits of action. Have you not learned in the Gita in the recent weeks that you must renounce the fruits of your action? So when we say do your part and surrender to the Lord, here it means you surrender your fruits of action to the totality. I do not know what all I have done. I may have done many things ignorantly, unknowingly, innocently. I might have done wrong things, isn't it? So when the fruits do not come, don't complain. Even though you are putting in your effort, it may take time for rewards to come. Never mind. That is where you surrender to the totality. The totality knows what I deserve. I may desire because I have put in effort and I want the fruits, and the fruits don't come. You may complain. So you surrender your worries. Why are things not happening? You may be an earnest worker. You may be a very honest worker. You may have great integrity in your work. You may have put in a lot of effort, but still the results may not happen, may not come as much as you anticipated, as much as you expected. This is where you got to surrender, believe in the totality. The totality knows what you deserve. Don't fall a prey to your desires. Remember, the divine law of life is you get what you deserve. You find great solace in surrendering to the divine law, that you will get what you deserve, and you will continue to find satisfaction in the effort you are putting in with the right attitude of surrendering to the Lord. So this is the right effort. The right combination is you continue to put in the right effort with the right attitude of surrendering to the higher, Even when results do not come, you continue to maintain this attitude. It is just a matter of time. You will override, if at all there is any karma which you have incurred in the past. If at all any karma you have incurred in the past and the results don't seem to be coming in your way, when the fruits are not in your favor, it is a matter of time you will override, isn't it? It is a matter of time you will overpower it. Just because the fruits do not come, do not doubt this ordainer. This is what the message is. Just because fruits don't come in your way, don't doubt this ordainer. There is a divinity that shapes our ends, says Shakespeare. There is that divinity that shapes our ends. Shapes our ends means there is the divine power that seems to come and mend your ways, seems to come and help you in your journey. It will happen. Undoubtedly it will happen. As long as you have faith in the Lord, as long as you put in your effort, it will happen. It is just a matter of time. Just that your past is not favoring you. Remember that. That's all. But those who have an anxiety for their desires, for the fruits, they will start doubting the ordainer. Even though I'm putting in effort, why are things not coming? There is no God. They challenge the totality, not knowing what they are doing. You must understand, you're performing countless actions. Every action has a cause and effect. I do not know what all have I done to deserve it, isn't it? So there is a divinity that shapes our ends. Now as a gardener, I may prepare the soil, I remove the weeds, I add manure, all I do, I plant the seed, I nurture it with necessary water, whatever the sapling needs. There ends my part. Having done that, I got to surrender the little plant to nature, because nature decides how will that sapling grow into a plant, into a tree, whether it's going to yield fruits or not. I can't interfere with that plan of nature thereafter. My job ends by preparing the soil, making sure the soil is rich and conducive. I put the right seed. I give all what I need to do in terms of pouring it the necessary water, not less, not more. What is required, adequate. Give it the necessary things, and thereafter surrender it to nature. He who knows what it needs better than a man like me. He knows it's his creature. Am I to decide what it needs? He knows, he will take care of it. The entire humanity is being taken care of. What makes you believe God is preferential to you, or partial to you, or partial to someone else? God, nothing happens without the role of God. And yet, that very God says in the Gita, Lord Krishna says, Uddharet Atmanatmanam, he says. I repeat, nothing happens. I can't even move my finger up and down without the providence, without divinity, without the Lord helping this finger to move up and down. Nothing. Nothing moves an inch. My hair doesn't grow an inch. My nail doesn't grow an inch without the Lord. Nothing happens. And yet that very same truth in the Gita, Lord Krishna says, Uddharet Atmanatmanam, he says. You got to lift yourself by yourself. Yet that Krishna says, I can't help you. You got to help yourself. And this is where you got to bring in these two factors. Nothing happens without the role of God, and yet that very God can't help you. So you must understand, surrendering doesn't mean blind faith. Surrendering means you got to put in all your effort with the understanding that there's a lot beyond my ability to understand life. My little intellect cannot fathom all what life is. You've got to surrender. But keep doing your part meticulously. To a point of fault, keep doing it. Even when the results do not come, keep doing your thing meticulously. And that is a trademark of a sadhak. So the trademark of a sadhak is to do your part meticulously, even when the results are not coming your way, and still have unfallible faith in the Lord or divinity. Things shall happen. So outstanding message here, provided you see it. So you got to surrender your worries. Believe that there is that you have to have faith, and there's a very thin line between faith and blind faith. In fact, take a note of this question for further deliberation. You all could think over it. Explain the differences between faith and blind faith. Or you can say, clarify what are the differences between faith and blind faith. So please examine it carefully, and perhaps when we come back next week, we will take your contributions and we'll clarify this question. So first half of the verse, in fact, Sudhakar Garu has put it beautifully. Yes, sir, sorry, I haven't seen your comment. You said, putting the candlelight in a gust of wind and expecting God will take care. I never knew that there is poetic talent hidden in you, sir. Very beautifully said. No, God is going to take care of that candlelight. It's going to, not just the candlelight, the candle also will blow away. Very true. Very true. Very beautifully said. Putting that candlelight in a gust of wind and expecting God will take care. No, God will take care. You've got to do your part. Very true. But yet ensure that when you do your part, it doesn't get to your head. Always you should be able to bow down. Remember, you must be able to bow down with all your knowledge, with all your success, with all your experience, with whatever you have achieved. If you can't bow down, that is when you're challenging the totality. You have not synced with the totality. That's when your ego, I, what am I? That comes over, that swells. When ego swells, you kick out the God from within you. If you want to allow the providence and divine heart to be on your side, it's not that God is favorable to those who are not egoistic and unfavorable to those who are egoistic. No. As somebody said, it helps those who help themselves. So God can be your friend, God can be your foe. It depends on how you use it. But if you can bow down, that's the only way you can ensure that you are in line with providence. So this is the first half of the verse. He says, "Oh distracted one, why worry over your wife and wealth?" So don't worry over your acquisitions. Don't worry if you have not got the wealth. Don't worry over your enjoyments. Don't worry what would happen. Nothing would happen to them. Don't worry. Is there not for you the ordainer? God has taken, who ensures that the animals are provided for in the wild? What assurance they have got? Who Who provides for them? Huh? It's an amazing observation. If you have looked at the wild, in the jungle, the wildlife, the percentage of the carnivores and the percentage of herbivores are constantly maintained. Has it ever struck you? The percentage of herbivores is far greater in number than the percentage of carnivores. Even in a jungle, you will find there are 20 tigers, there are 10,000 deers and gazelles and wildebeests and other herbivores. So it is 20 to 10,000. Imagine the proportion is tilted a little bit here and there. Imagine there are 2,000 carnivores, 2,000 tigers and 5,000 herbivores. What would happen? The carnivores will be out of food within no time. So this proportion of herbivores and carnivores is maintained throughout history. Go backwards, throughout. Who takes care of it? Who provides for it? Who governs it? Who maintains it? A little bit happens, plus or minus, there will be chaos, because human population is insignificant compared to animal population. Insignificant. It's 1:infinite, isn't it? If you take the birds and the beasts and the mammals and all the fishes and all the animal kingdom put together, in fact, the weight of ants, if you put all the ants and weigh them, they outweigh the human population. Do you know that? This is a fact. If you were to collect all the ants in the world and put the 8 billion people on one side and weigh them, just the ants alone will outweigh us. And what are we talking about? The rest of the animal kingdom. So who takes care of it? Who governs it? Who controls it? Who oversees all their well-being? It is the same Lord. So what makes you believe that mighty power can take care of everything, every other creature, and only you are being deprived of? He is very angry with you. Like, when you are very angry with someone, you say, you put your tongue and say, I am very angry with you. He is biting your thumb at you. He is katif, Remember, as a kid will say, katif. I don't want to play with you. I am not friend with you. You think God has got something enmity with you? That He is not providing for you? So it is you that is limiting the grace of Lord by your own arrogance. There's a beautiful saying, upon my roof collapsing, I had an uninterrupted view of the moon. So the moon is always there, or the sun is always there. I can't see the light because I have put an obstacle. I have put a barrier. I have closed the curtains. You remove the barrier. Once the obstacle is removed, the light is always there. Isn't it? You have put an obstacle. So what is the obstacle between you and your own divinity? It's your own ego. Believe, is there not the ordainer? There is an ordainer. In fact, the little life we have experienced and the little seva we have done, all throughout our lives, it's unbelievable, I tell you. It's always been outright strangers who has come and who walked into your life, who walked into the journey and paved a path for you. It's always been strangers. And I can write a book. In fact, other day, I think it was Soumyama, I think, if I'm not wrong. She was telling me, Guruji, why don't you start putting all your experiences? It will be an interesting read. I said, thanks for advice, ma, but I will not do it, I said. But it will be very, very interesting just to put how your life's journey has started. And, we have started our journey with nothing. And how life comes and enables at every stage, at every juncture, some mysterious force, some stranger, some unknown factor comes and just lifts you, gives you the necessary push to carry on. That's all. Amazing. So if you have that faith in the ordainer and do your part, unbelievable help comes. Unbelievable. Undoubtedly help comes. So to doubt that providence itself is arrogance. To doubt it itself is arrogance. Okay? And then moving on, the second half of the verse, he says something which we are very familiar with. We have already gone through the concept of satsang. So here he repeats it in the three worlds. Don't ask me the three worlds. What three worlds? I only know one word. What are the three worlds? Rajima, I am lost. I surrender to you. What are the three worlds? You seem to be knowing them. I do not know that. So I said, I surrender, whatever you say. It's the heaven, the netherworld, and the earthly world. Whatever they are. In the three worlds means in every realm of your experience, you can tell the waking, dream, deep sleep. You can interpret it in many ways as you think, but that's not the theme. The main thing is Jayama is saying Bhuloka, Devaloka, Yamaloka, as if she knows all the three lokas. I am still trying to understand Bhuloka, but this lady Bhuloka, Devaloka also knows, Yamaloka also she knows. I shall have your appointment, ma. Please guide me through that. Three lokas. Siddharaman garu, Chepan sir. No, why you have to forgive? I am not telling anything wrong. What you said is correct. Jama, forgive me if I have said anything wrong. So, Siddharaman garu is saying physical, mental, intellectual. Yeah. So the three worlds, you can look at it differently. Okay. So the main message there is, in the three worlds, association with the good alone can serve as a boat to cross the sea of existence. Trijagati sajjana sangati reka bhavati bhavarnava tarane nauka. Yes, Tata. I shall. Yes, Tata, you have something to say, please share. We can't hear you, Tata. Now we can maybe. Yeah. Please. Oh, yo. It is activated, Rajima. It is activated. Yeah. We will wait a minute. Try to recall, Tata. If you remember, you can draw my attention and you can share, Tata, okay? Now, whenever there is a mention of this metaphor of the boat, okay? Now, please try to take a note of these aspects, okay? Now, I would have loved to have engaged you all, but I'm just presenting there so that you take care of all these aspects. I hope you all can see that. Now, the satsang is compared to the boat. So, firstly, the boat here refers to the individual. The individual is the boat. The boat always finds itself in the ocean. Now, the nature of the ocean is it is always with the rough waves. You go deep into the ocean, it is full of the rough waves, the huge tides. You find the ship goes right into the waves and comes out. So that is symbolic of the ups and downs of the world. So those who have a little experience of life understand that the nature of the world is very rough. There are good, there is bad, there are profit, there is loss. There's all the time there are challenges. There is heat, there is cold. There is birth, there is death. There are moments of joy, and there are times you go through pangs of sorrow. There is health, there is disease. This is life, ups and downs. Every individual is subjected to this. None of us can escape it. It's a matter of time. We all have to go through different realms of this pass and fail. So this is the very nature of the world, which is symbolized by the waves. And then you have the captain who steers the ship, the boat. What is the use of a boat without a captain? There is no direction to the ship, isn't it? So the captain is the intellect. Now, I have written in brackets, the intellect is the gross intellect. Okay? And then the intellect or the captain follows the compass. And the compass is
conscience. Direction to your intellect.
Compass. Pasantama, what's the compass? The compass is the direction to your intellect. So what is the direction?
Taking the help of good company.
Obviously, we are not looking in wrong direction, yeah. So we're looking for the right direction.
Guru or knowledge.
So what is it that gives right direction? Okay.
Yeah.
Guru or the knowledge. Do you see the note there on the screen to your right side?
Yeah.
Now you see. You want to make it a little bigger? Okay. It will just cover part of the videos. So the compass we said here is the, what is the unique aspect of a mariner's compass? Do you know? A mariner uses a mariner's compass. So what is that unique nature of a mariner's compass?
Conscience.
Correct. The mariner's compass always points to the north. Now similarly, what is the compass compared to? It is the conscience. Now, what is the comparative of the conscience? Now, what is that? What does the conscience do?
It speaks the truth.
Rajima? What's the direction here it's giving? You say it is the speaks the truth, the right direction. But what is the direction conscience is pointing? Correct. The conscience constantly points towards the self or the reality. And the conscience is an aspect of your subtle intellect. I hope you all can see. Gayatri Ma, you can see the chart, isn't it? The notes. Okay, great. So the compass symbolizes the conscience. As compass points towards the north, conscience always points towards the reality, which is the truth, the self, the goal. Conscience is an aspect of subtle intellect. You can also say conscience is the messenger of God. The true messenger of God in us, pointing towards the God, is the conscience. So if you follow the conscience, you're on the right path. Now what is it that goes against the conscience? Harishji, I don't know whether I can bring you to this question. Can you answer what is it that goes against your conscience? The question I'm asking Seduraman Garu is, what is it that goes against your conscience?
Sir, agitation, anxiety, suffering. When we go against conscience,
How? No. I'm not asking what happens when you go against the conscience. What my question is, if you carefully follow, I said conscience gives you the direction towards the truth.
worldly attractions.
Okay. My question is, what is it that takes you away from the direction of the conscience?
Mind.
Not worldly attractions. I'm asking in you. What is it that gets attracted? Okay, in other way, what is it that gets attracted to the world? So if you follow the mind, so correct. So it is your mind and desire
Yeah.
that is
Vasanas
it contradicts your conscience.
manifest.
Did we not say the earlier verse that desire is a barrier between man and God? Desire is the evil. Yes, sir.
With knowledge, I have to burn off the vasanas.
Then what should you do if vasanas manifest as desires?
I have to be in satsang and
Correct. So with the knowledge and intellect, with the help of the Shastras, with the help of the conscience, you got to give it the right direction. So with the help of, correct, with the help of satsang, with the help of knowledge, with the help of conscience, you got to give the vasanas or desires a right direction. Okay, so the compass can also be related to as the scriptures, that which gives you because the scriptures only talk of the one aspect, that is the Atman yourself. They don't talk of anything else other than the Atman. So the scriptures talk of the reality. Okay. Now then, when you come back to the example of the metaphor boat, then the next point is the passenger. When you talk of the boat is the individual, the ocean is the world, the rough waves are the ups and downs, the compass is the conscience, the passenger is the mind. The passengers are having a beautiful time in the cruise. Isn't it right, Rajima? I have never been in a cruise, but I can only talk indirectly here. Cruise are literally moving cities. You'll have 4,000-5,000 people, isn't it? It's like a 20-story building. It has unbelievable amenities and facilities. You can have a theme park, you have a casino, you have a hotel, you have restaurants, you have theaters, you have golf courses, you have swimming pools, you have mini theme parks. You can imagine all packaged in a moving ship. I had many chances, but I have never had that vasana to go, sir. Siddharaman garu, vasana illa sir, enna pannalam, na pole. Vasana irunduna na neriya poirken, but I didn't have the vasana, enna pannalam. But then I have enough knowledge of it, all. So, is it not wrong that those who go to the cruises, they go to have a good time, they have fun, isn't it? In fact, most of the cruises, they go nowhere. They just take off from the port and come back to the same port. So you don't deport anywhere. You don't disembark anywhere. You just go spend a few days in the sea and come back to the same point, isn't it? They have that kind of cruise as well. But the whole experience is, when you go into the cruise, the passenger is having a fine dine restaurant. He's in a fine dine restaurant and he's having a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. And what is it? He doesn't even realize that he is in the ocean. He doesn't even realize that the ship is going through a roller coaster literally in the rough seas. But the passenger is having a fine dining moment with his wife. He's celebrating the anniversary. He's cutting a cake. He's breaking a champagne bottle. And there's not even a ripple in the wine glass or a coffee cup. He doesn't even realize for a moment that he is in the midst of a sea. And yet the cruise is going through ups and downs of the huge waves. So that symbolizes, when the captain, the intellect is smart, when the intellect follows the compass, the conscience, the journey of your life, you live a life of peace, happiness, contentment. You experience relative bliss. You live a life, a heavenly life. You find your life is full of joy and bliss and happiness. You enjoy your life. You don't complain. You don't have worries and sorrow in life. You're full of peace and bliss. And then the shore of departure is the shore of mortality, where the ship takes off. And then you reach the shore of destination, which is the immortality, which is absolute bliss. So it's not that the destination only has to be blissful. The journey also has to be as blissful and slowly it keeps getting better and better, and ultimately you reach infinite happiness. And the only thing that is missing, I have not put it, is known as dry docking. Do you all know what dry docking is? What is dry docking? I will leave you all with this question. Think of it. Every ship is brought to the dry dock for repairs. And if it is not, doesn't go through the dry dock, it is not fit for the long time in the salty waters and the rough seas. So if the dry docking is not done often, the ship loses its lifespan. It goes through the repairs. So second question for you all is, what is dry docking compared to in the metaphor of the boat? Remember, the boat is an individual. So what is the dry docking compared to, akin to? So these Mahatmas, they only just say, Bhavati Bhavarnava Tarane Nauka. That's all they say. But when they use the example of a boat, there's so much to it. You go into the finer detail of it, every aspect of it is perfectly relatable. Okay, it is beautiful. There is a beautiful analogy, and it's a very famous metaphor, often used in the Shastras. Okay, so take a note of it. Last question, second question from that session I've asked you is, what is dry docking compared to in the example? Right. A beautiful verse, really a very beautiful verse. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Hari Om Tata. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Dry dock. Maintenance. Dry dock. Dry docking, maintenance.